show, Money Talks.
Here comes the money.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Charlene, and welcome to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. We're on Dash Talk Radio.
Dash Talk Radio.
There you go, Matt. Now you got it in there.
Oh, yeah. We slipping it all in there today.
Hey, so in the studio today, we have Jamaal Lewis.
Special guest.
How you guys
very
doing?
special guest.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Amazing. God is good.
God is
good.
so
God is
good.
great, baby.
Amen.
Look, now Jamaal has many titles. He's a man of many, many, many directions, and we thank God for that.
Amen.
He's a former football player, actor, photographer, celebrity correspondent for
Talk about it.
CVH First Class Group Magazine.
Let them know.
Did I say it all?
You did.
And you are the CEO of Stay Blessed Clothing Line.
Jamal got all kind of accolades up in
Jamal
here.
Hey,
got
God will do it.
plenty of
I'm
money
trying to tell
coming
everybody,
in.
God
I'm
will do it.
telling you. He's got a whole bunch, and he's got a testimony coming up, too, because he told me, he said, ooh, things are going well.
Yes.
Yes, he told us that backstage, so we're ready. So now this is your first time on the show.
Yes.
So our audience wants to know just a little bit about who you are and the industry you're in, or industries.
It's a tricky one because the industry that I'm in right now, if you would have told me when I was a kid that this is what I would be doing, I would have said, you're lying. You are lying. When I was raised, I was a little short, overweight kid. I got picked on.
Yeah.
Just to kind of tell you a little bit about my personality, I wanted to play the saxophone in the band. I thought that was going to be my claim to fame. I was like, yes, everyone's going to love me.
Yes.
I'm going to get down on the saxophone. And I walked in 6th grade with my mom into the band room, and the band teacher looked at me and his eyes lit up. His name was Mr. Haynes.
Shout out to Mr. Haynes.
Mr.
Shout out to
Haynes.
Mr. Haynes.
And he went in the back room and he came out with this large object that was almost as big as a car. I didn't know what it was, never seen it before. And
You said, where's the saxophone?
that's
at?
not a
Right,
saxophone.
that is not a
Saxophones
saxophone.
are bent this way? No. And he put a tuba in between my legs. And he said, have at it.
Did you pass it back to him? I'd have been like,
No,
yeah,
not so
bro.
much.
I
That's
didn't
not
know
for me.
whether to cry or I kind of looked at my mom and she looked at me like, hey, what are you going to do? And I became a tuba player, and I
tuba
loved
saxophone.
it. My parents didn't because we lived in a little house on an Air Force base.
Uh-oh.
And that was my practice.
And it was loud.
I got
facility.
no sleep.
No one did. Ever.
But you
Nobody's
were
safe
good.
out here.
But you were
Nothing like a tuba waking you up in the morning.
It sounded like a steamboat.
I'd be like, am I with the Navy?
Wow. So you played the tuba.
I did.
Okay.
So I played the tuba for a while, and then it was going into my 8th grade year, which it was really weird because one summer, all I literally did was eat and sleep and eat and sleep. And the outcome was I grew a foot over a summer.
Oh,
wow.
So it was almost like I woke up and I was real gangly, and I stood up out of bed and I was kind of like, how do you work this thing? And so I started playing sports. I decided I was going to start playing sports, and I excelled in sports rather fast for just coming into it. Went to high school, played through high school, ended up earning a full ride scholarship to Arizona State University. Shout
Okay,
out to
Shout out to
Arizona
the
State.
Sun Devils,
Okay.
man. I almost went to school there, too.
Wait. I want to back up just a second. You were a tuba player. That's
Tuba
where
player.
I left off. And then
Yep.
you ate all summer, and you grew to 6 feet or so.
Yes.
Key to
And
success, y'all. Eat and sleep.
Eat and sleep
right.
over the summer.
I was bald headed too on top of that, so I got bullied, and people used to call me Sinbad, the comedian. I did not like that one bit.
Right?
I wanted to
weren't-
look like,
whatever,
just
not Sinbad.
Sinbad.
Right.
Right.
Nothing against
Exactly.
Sinbad.
I mean,
if
he's cool.
you ever
Yeah.
make a documentary,
Sure.
holla at me. But yeah, so
that
just
was not who you wanted to be known
right.
as.
Not at the time. I wanted to
Right.
be more of a like a Michael Jordan or a sports figure. You know what I mean?
Got you.
Yeah. So now you got to high school. You played football in high school.
Correct.
So that made you very popular.
It did, and it was kind of cool because it was such a small town. You know what I mean? It's Colorado Springs, Colorado, and the limelight there. It was small compared to what it got to when it was Arizona State, but it was still very humbling in a sense. And I was still that little small tuba kid in my
Right.
heart, and I still am to this day. I've never left him. I call it him. It's who I am internally. And so it was cool to see the growth and how people kind of switched the way that they looked at me and talked to me and, oh, congratulations. And actually that year I was one of the only kids to get a D1 scholarship out of the entire state.
Wow.
So you were just outperforming everybody.
Cracking.
Yes. Found his
Had
wings.
his fresh Letterman on too. Oh
Like
yeah.
what?
Yeah, I sure did. Wore it everywhere. We would go to the mall at lunch with the Letterman jackets and just let everybody know we are Rampart.
We are
Rampart
Rampart.
High School. That's right.
Now you got to college.
Yes.
What happened when you got there? Because now you're tall, you're an athlete, you're a D1 player.
Well, especially Arizona State. That's a
Arizona
party school
State
too.
is the
Turn
party
up.
school. Yes.
I mean, you hit it on the head. Arizona State, when I went there, it was ranked by Playboy the #1 party school in the world.
Oh man.
And I'm coming from Colorado Springs, Colorado, where the only club to go to was called Cowboys. So, I mean, I did two-step every now and then.
But
But
so you turned into a cowboy there.
you have to adapt. You know what I mean? So I did go to Arizona State. And the party scene for me, it didn't set in right away. You know, I was focused and motivated, and I wasn't exposed to all that stuff yet.
Got you.
So with that being said, you know, I was very focused on football, and I was like, I'm going to get on this field and do the same thing that I was doing in college.
Right.
Right.
And the difference between college and high school is the platform is much bigger, in
Right.
which I
Much
was still
bigger.
very naive to how big the platform really was. So I was excelling and doing amazing. And just right around my junior year is when it really started to get, you know, recognition in the community and stuff like that. And, oh, that's Jay. They used to call me J-Lou82. Ugh.
You're like, I'm shaking that off right
Yeah.
now.
Right now.
But it went both ways because it became kind of like a egotistical thing. You know, I got kind of big headed real fast, and I became the stereotypical what people think a football player is today.
Got you.
And you know, if I was doing good, it was J-Lou82, and if I was doing bad, the coaches would be like, "What is that, J-Lo?" So it went both ways. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It was kind of like it was something that I grew into. And now looking back at it, it was like, "Whoo, man!" It was a learning experience. Because it's crazy when you're in it, you don't really understand how prideful and how big your ego is really getting until you get humbled, until God sits you down and says, "I need to talk to you."
Yeah.
Right, especially with college being such a short window of 4 years to where it's like everything is just happening so fast.
So
Right.
fast.
And then that last two, it accelerates.
Right.
Because you're getting ready to graduate. Scouts are looking at you. It's the whole 9 yards. You know, the girls are looking like, ooh, he's gonna be my meal ticket. He's gonna be my husband.
Exactly.
He's gonna buy me diamonds. I'm going to get real close to him. Right. All of that happens.
This is true, and I think it goes both ways because that definitely is out there. But if you're walking closer with God, I think it's easier to sift through that.
Yes.
If that's what you're looking for, cool, and it's definitely out there. But if you're looking for something more wholesome, that is always there too.
I'll be over there throwing the Bible at everybody like,
Man, I didn't
Get away
used
from me.
to. You wasn't bobbing and weaving.
So now you're in college. Everything's going great. Scouts are looking at you.
That's right.
You're going to the pros.
I'm going to the pros. It's signed, sealed, delivered. And this is only my junior year. I have another year to come back. But in my mind, I'm thinking, let's get this money.
Yes.
I want
Right.
to take care of my family, my mom, my sister, my dad. My dad's a hard worker. He's always been a hard worker. And he's the kind of man that I believe if he had $20 million in the bank right now, he would still be working as hard as there's nothing that changes about that man. And he instilled a lot of integrity and factors that have really been a part of my growth into being a man. So going into my junior year, my parents told me, they're like, you should stay. My coach actually told me, he was like, you should stay. We're going to convert you into a full-time wide receiver, and you're going to catch more balls. You're going to score more touchdowns. Your stock is going to go from second-round draft pick to first-round draft pick. And so it was kind of like, you know what I mean?
right.
Right.
I was weighing my options. I was like, okay, that sounds real good. But also at the same time, behind the scenes is when I got introduced to the nightlife, which the nightlife I was not accustomed to.
Right.
And the nightlife will take a hold of you.
Right.
And my focus shifted. So we have summer workouts. I used to not miss a summer workout. You cannot pull me away from a summer workout. That was like bread and butter, because what you do in the off season is a direct reflection of what happens during the
happens in
season.
the
Like when you
Exactly.
put in work, it shows. It's a confidence that when you step on the field, that dude has no chance. That you definitely don't have a chance. It's a confidence builder. So
Especially sometimes when you're adding pieces to your game too. So you're
Man.
like, ooh, this off season, they don't know what's gonna hit 'em.
exactly, and I mean, you hit it right on the head with that. So I got introduced to the nightlife. Well, the nightlife will make you lose sleep. It
Right.
will
Right.
make you miss practices. It will. It starts to just deteriorate and just like take away everything that you've been working slowly. It doesn't happen just like boom. You know, I would still show up to practice and still do what I did with my God-given ability and talents.
Right.
But I was taken away from the hard work that was added on top of the talent.
Yes.
Right.
And the infrastructure
Exactly.
was crumbling.
Exactly. So
Because like they say, hard work beats talent when
talent doesn't work hard. Preach.
Yes.
Truth. Living testimony. So basically what happened is I ended up getting into a little trouble. And it wasn't anything. Well, I should rewind that. It was something big, but the fact that I didn't express it to my coaches and let them know what happened, it really hurt myself, and I ended up getting suspended for the first 2 games of the season.
Wow.
Which you go from second-round draft pick, hopeful, to now you're suspended the first 2 games. Scouts are like, what happened?
Red
What
flag.
happened? Yeah.
Super red flag. And then it just commenced. I had a very mediocre season. It wasn't what I planned for it to be. I still produced a little bit. And in my mind, I'm still egotistical. Yeah, I'm still going to the league, and could have.
Right.
And then the end of the season came, and we were going to a bowl game, and I got suspended again.
Wow.
Man.
So now, why is this dude not even playing in the bowl game?
Right.
Just we went from red flags to no flags, just off the map, like immediately. So I think at that point in time in my life, it was kind of like I lost the love due to self decisions that I had made.
Right.
And I wanted to blame everybody else. It's his fault. It's that coach's fault. It's this person's fault. Everybody but myself, I wanted to blame. And it took me the longest time just to kind of submit to God and just be like, take this, release this from me, let me move forward.
Right.
Right.
So coming off of that little stint, you know what I mean? It went into just a down spiral. So I was at my rock bottom, all-time low. I didn't know where I was going.
Wow.
I didn't know what I was doing. It was just emptiness, nothing.
Wow.
All the friends that I had due to football and the club life and this, that, and the other, just everybody was gone.
Faded
Wow.
away immediately.
Just bye.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out how Jamaal recovered from all that in our next segment. This is Charlene on Lunch with the Finance Bunch, and we'll be right back.
On Dash Talk Radio, y'all.
Dash Talk Radio. And we're back. I'm Charlene.
God's gift, Matthew.
And we're in the studio with Jamaal. And we're here talking about, his rise to stardom as a football player and how that can take its toll on you if you don't. What word would you use for that? Like if you're a football player and you're out there and you're doing your thing and then you get caught up in the party scene, that can take its toll on you inwardly and outwardly, right?
And man, it's important to nurture your gift.
Yes.
God's given you a gift, and you have to nurture it.
Yes, I agree with that. Now, you know that football is not going to be your future at this point.
At this point, yes.
Right. And so where do you go from there? There's so many people out there who had an idea in their mind, like this is going to be my life. And it just doesn't turn out that way. How do you recoup from that? How do you move forward?
Especially as like an athlete.
Right, because you've obviously moved forward and you're doing very well now, very successful. But how do you in that moment move forward?
I think for me, it was almost, I don't want to say an aha moment, but it was that moment that I was talking about where God said, he talked through somebody and was like, sit down, we need to have a talk.
Wow.
And one of my buddies, the only friends that I had left at that time, he looked me dead in my eye, grabbed my shoulder, and he was like, Jamaal, you are blessed. He was like, stay that way. And when he said that, it was like, stay blessed. Stay blessed. And it was just like my heart was like, woo, 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 it just like recharged.
Wow.
And I didn't know what it meant at the time. Like I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I just knew that I felt hope for the first time.
Yeah.
And the darkness was gone. And so I was dating a girl at the time. She was like, you should model.
You're a football player.
And you said,
you're
huh?
like,
Yeah, you go from wearing a helmet, you're knocking heads, to now
Right.
in baby oil. Like,
Exactly.
no. And so she actually helped me get my first gig. And the gig, I literally stood, it was a casino, a nationwide casino commercial. And I stood at a casino at a pool with baby oil on without a shirt all day. And when we were done, I was kind of like, that, like,
What was
I
that?
ate, but at the same time, I was like, I ate good all day. There's cameras flying around and stuff. Like,
You
it was
really
like,
have to do a
crafty as
whole
well.
lot.
crafty as bomb. I'm like, this is free? I'm like, sure.
You have to pay?
Yeah, and this was my first experience to it. You know, I came home a couple weeks later, and the check was in the mail, and I opened the check. I had no idea. I opened the check, and I was like, oh, I'm a model.
Okay, I'm a model now. Yes, that's
I
this
said
check
the same
says.
thing with commercial acting, bro. I said, "Oh, this is not for me," and I got my first check, and I said, "You know what?
Right.
I might let this day job go."
Right.
I'm an actor.
And so I kind of ran with it. I started self-submitting to stuff and really looking into getting an agent and this, that, and the other, and getting photography and building my portfolio. And I just ran with it. And when I was doing all this stuff, whether I would get an audition, it could be the smallest little thing, but it was like I had hope restored.
Right.
And everything that I would do, I'd post something on Facebook, and I would just write, just book the gig, stay blessed. And I would write, stay blessed after everything. Everything I said, it was just kind of like I'm out, you know?
Like a tagline.
Yeah. And at first, you can imagine when people would see it, they'd be like, what is he talking about? We were just in the club with him a couple weeks ago, and he was wilding. What is he talking about? Stay blessed.
Stay
Right.
lit. Stay lit.
He's something else. He ain't blessed. Yeah, right. So it was a transition. Like, the transformation didn't happen overnight. A lot of times people think the transformation is just like, wow, it happens overnight.
And it doesn't.
But they don't see everything that goes on. So it didn't matter whether it was a shoot that I did for free, because I did those, or a shoot that was paid. I was still glorifying God for just the opportunity to do something like that.
Right.
And the gig started getting bigger and bigger, and Instagram had just started.
Shout out to Instagram.
And shout out to Instagram, endorsed. But I think I had like 50 believers. I call them believers, not followers. I had 50 believers at the time. And if you post a picture and you get like 10 likes and one comment, you like, this is cracking. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
Especially because
I'm
it goes
doing
from like
this.
seeing individual people to like just the number of likes.
Exactly.
You're like, I'm on now.
Right. So I had, that's where I was with Instagram. And I had decided that I was going to go to a kiosk one day, and I made a little cheap shirt, and it said "Stay blessed," like the one I'm wearing, not this exact one, but I posted it on Instagram, and I was just like, I just got done with a workout,
Right.
Like, bam, and I posted a picture with the shirt, and I literally had more likes than I had believers, and I had more comments than I had believers, and a light bulb went off, and all the comments were, "Where do I get that shirt? I need that shirt. Give me that shirt. I want to buy that shirt. Send me the link to where you got this shirt. I need the shirt." I mean, just a list.
You're like,
of it.
whoa.
I said, I just got a business.
Right. And exactly. A light went off. And I was just kind of like, okay. And I prayed on it. I said, God, what do you want me to do with this? And I heard him loud and clear. He said, create a vehicle. Create a vehicle for me to spread this message. So to this day, I can't take credit, and I won't take credit for the saying. I believe it's a direct message from God, but I can take credit for the clothing line.
Yes.
And I do believe that, there's an artistic side about me, and I designed the logo. I sat down with my girl at the time, and we argued back and forth, got in fights to the point it was like 4 a.m. when I finally was like, okay, this is the logo, going with it.
Yes.
And the cool part about it is like once you know you have it, it's like
You
there's
know
no
it's-
more
that's
to
it.
it.
Man, yep, it's like it's got to be it. And even when I started, I took everything that I had, and I bought the clothes, and I literally was just like, here, take it to all my friends who had said here. And then it just kind of steamrolled, and it started to go. And it started going the message, and it was touching so many lives, people that I had no, expectation or just no even rhyme or reason to how or why, but it was like, God, I see you working. I see you working.
Yeah. That's cool.
So then I still couldn't understand at that point, like with the modeling and acting, the platform that I was being given was not for me, myself, like I was looking at it for football,
Right.
but it was for this message.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you yourself are just the vessel between the two.
Amen. That's all it is. And it's so cool because I wear this stuff everywhere. Like, you got to rip it off my body. But like, I would go to gigs where I'd be like, why am I doing this music video? It's not necessarily something like with the lyrics and stuff like that, but it's not my job to look into that.
Right.
I'm looking into the reason, like, why am I here? And I would go on some of these gigs. I mean, big artists, huge artists. And at first it's like, wow, I'm in this music video.
Right.
It's kind of like a wow moment because, you know what I
Right.
mean? But then it's like I would see a young kid or young kids or a grown man, someone in this music video who saw the message, and it's just like their face lights up. And it's like at that moment, it's like, okay, I know I'm here.
Yeah. To spread that message.
Amen.
Wow.
And it's almost like it's getting implanted, so to speak, into situations where people need to see it, because it's not necessarily people that are in church every Sunday that are praising God
Right.
that need to see Stay Blessed. It's some of these people that are getting lost in the mix.
Exactly, and it's just like slowly but surely, you just like planting seed everywhere,
Yep.
just boom, 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 boom.
Amen.
Now you are going to relaunch your Stay Blessed line, correct?
Yes, correct.
And so we'll be able to purchase those shirts soon,
Yes,
right?
the website is currently up. There's it's going to be www.stayblessed.co.
Love it. Love it. Now, how long have you like you said, you're relaunching, but how long have you actually had this clothing brand?
Well, I started in 2009, and I think there's an important lesson to be learned, life lesson just in general, that a lot of people can relate. I think when you're doing something so positive, and I've seen this more times than none, when you're doing something so positive for some reason, and clearly it's the enemy,
Yes.
they want to reroute you or take you off your path. And for me, the way that I look at it, it's like it's a test of your faith. It's really to see like what you're passionate about, like what you really believe in.
Yes.
And how can you handle that adversity?
Exactly.
Yes.
And it's like I had a situation that happened, and I don't want to dig too deep into it, but it's something that caused me to put Stay Blessed on a shelf. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking like, God, I'm doing a God honoring thing, spreading your message, and I created this vehicle. Like, why would somebody do this to this brand? It doesn't even make sense.
Right.
And my mom always used to tell me, you know, son, there's no David without Goliath. She used to-
Right.
you know what I mean? And so I just always kind of kept that like near and dear to my heart when it was happening. And I learned to thank God for everything that was happening instead of saying, why? Because I would catch myself all the time saying, why? And it's like when I learned how to flip the script of how I was thinking, everything started to come back together.
Wow. Now, how did you use social media during that time? Like, how was social media your friend during that time? Because there was a period of time that you were not doing your line. So what happened?
It's probably the hardest because this is my passion. This is my
Right.
baby. Like
Right,
the modeling and
exactly.
acting and for all the other stuff can wait. Like this is my purpose. And when it was happening, it's social media nowadays, it's so easy for people to lash out and just expose their business, which
Right.
I understand, but you have to understand when you expose your business like that, you're opening yourself up to complete strangers
That's
to
right.
come in and just tear you apart.
Right.
Right.
So I just remain positive. I have a positive spirit about me. And I wanted to so many times be like this person and that person and
Right.
you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I believe in God, so I'm not going to tell you what I think about
Right.
Like this is about to go viral.
you. Right. Instantly. So it was more, I had so much content built up of the past of what was already happening with the brand
Yes.
that I didn't change anything. I
Wow.
kept the daily. I've been doing daily posts for 2 years. The website has been down for a year and a half, and I have not lost content. That's how good it was going. That's how
wow.
many people had the clothing. And I would wake up every morning. I still do to this day. And I wake up and I click on the Stay Blessed hashtag, and I just scroll until my eyes go crossed. I can't look. You know what I mean? It's just like whoo. And when I see somebody wearing the gear, I screenshot it. They don't even know what's coming. I screenshot it. And then a day or two later, just depending on, you know, when it was done, I'll post them. And I think that's another cool element about it is that
Yes.
it's recognizing the people. So if you go to the Stay Blessed Instagram page, it's not all models or girls with this out and dudes with this out. And
Right.
it's the people. It's the people that
everyday
you see,
people,
working
everyday
at the corner
people.
store.
Yeah.
You're like, I know him. He was just in
Right.
church with me or just whatever the case is. So that's one thing that's real cool about it. So overall, I just kept it going.
Man.
I never heard God say, just turn it off, stop. And it really was a test of my faith because every day it was like, I just want to get back to doing
Exactly.
what I was doing. So, and it was like, why are you teaching me patience this long? Like, it's too long for patience.
Right. I don't have patience to
A
wait
day,
for
a
this.
week, a month is cool.
It's cool.
2 years,
But this has
really?
been 2 years.
Right.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's the amount of just, and this is the part that really got me is that the people were right because you wouldn't know that anything is wrong unless you actually went to the website. And
Right.
the website's just down. It just says GoDaddy. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like not
Yes.
even there anymore because I had to take it down. But just the amount of comments and people, I would just be like, please send an email to blessing@stayblessed.com and we'll let you know when we relaunch.
Yes.
And I started that at day one, and now it's day not 600, and you know what I mean.
Right.
So, but now we're finally about to relaunch.
And
so
you're gonna relaunch.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm ready
I
to run full
know.
speed.
I can definitely see the excitement.
This is amazing. And so
Ball is
we're
over here like it's about to go down.
It's about
Stay
to go
tuned,
down.
y'all.
Right.
Track stance.
So we'll be right back, and we'll hear just how it's going to go down with Jamaal. This is Charlene on Lunch with the Finance Bunch.
On Dash Talk Radio,
Dash
y'all.
Talk Radio. This is Charlene, and we're back in the studio, Lunch with the Finance Bunch on Dash Talk Radio.
Charlene, a.k.a. Beyonce, y'all. Get
Yes,
ready for
I was
the
singing
album.
I heard
just
it.
behind. I'm telling you, it's going to be so good. And we have Jamaal Lewis in the studio with us today. And we're talking about everything from football fame to now he's launching a clothing line, and he's a model and actor and photographer. He's got all these streams of income coming in. Ooh. And so when you look at your life now, what we see is success, right?
Amen.
And so people think, okay, I'm just going to get out here, I'm just going to jump out here, and I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to be successful.
Right.
You know, what piece of advice would you give someone who thinks that way?
It is a process, I think, and one of the main things that comes into play with that nowadays is social media, because that's the way that you market yourself, or it's free marketing for yourself.
Right.
And those
Right.
platforms are how I use. You won't hear about my personal life on there. Every now and then with my parents, you know what I mean. But that's how I market myself and establish my brand.
Right.
So with that being said, it's when I book something or do something, it doesn't, like I said earlier, it doesn't matter how big or small.
Right.
I'll post it, stay blessed, give glory to God. But at the same time, they don't see the 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 no's that I got. The no, you don't have the look. No, you're not good. Whatever they want to say
Right.
about your appearance, who you are, though they're not afraid to tell you no. They will
That's
say
right.
no. So the people don't see those 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 no's. All they see is that one yes.
Exactly.
And for me, it's a numbers game. So like I do my self submissions, and I know if I submit 200 times a day, I mean, you could do the math. Out of those 200 submissions, I'll get maybe 2 auditions and maybe 1 booking. Like that's how it's really cutthroat and slim in the industry.
Exactly.
And even to this day, like I've walked into some of the top print agencies. I've been told, no, you're too this, you're too that. And it's like, it's just like with anything in life, you have to understand people are going to tell you no.
Right.
They're going to tell you you're not good enough. You don't have this, you don't have that.
But you keep
can't,
going.
Yeah, you can't let that
Right.
do anything to you. That's
Exactly.
their opinion. And
Yeah, you can't listen to all the noise.
at all. You just have to block it out and keep going, because when you believe in what you really believe in, you'll get there. My biggest thing when I started is you have too many tattoos. And I could see that when I played football. That was, I'm a football player. I'm about to
Right.
get super money.
Right.
I don't have to have any skin showing.
That's right. You can just
Cashing
tat
out
it up.
anyway, baby.
Sleeves.
So I have tattoos everywhere. But by the grace of God, you just keep at it and keep at it. Now, like there's national commercials being run.
That's
and there's
right.
movies being, the coolest thing was, and the way that I learned to humble myself is when I first moved out here, when I decided like I'm moving to Cali, I booked a role in Straight Outta Compton.
Nice.
Right.
And Straight Outta Compton was big. I didn't know how big it was at the time. I remember when I walked in and I first got on set, and they were doing my makeup and cutting my hair, and I'm like, welcome to Hollywood. Like I made it. This
Right.
is my first
This is
gig
it.
out here. I'm like, goodness, this is gonna be a great life.
Right.
And I remember Ice Cube's son walked in, and I didn't know he had a son. I didn't know what he looked like. And I looked to my left, and I was kind of like, oh, God. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? It's a younger
got a
version.
double Ice Cube?
Yeah, like, how did they
I
do
didn't know
that?
he was a stand-in.
Like, right. I knew Hollywood was real, but that's a little too real. I didn't know what was going on. So it was like one day I'm shooting that, but then the next day I'm doing audience work on a TV show, getting paid less than minimum wage. So the very next day, so it's very humbling because they go from
Too extreme.
to
Right.
very, you know what I mean? So, but with that, I just kept looking back at the football thing. Like, okay, humble yourself.
Right.
Don't fall into that role again. Don't fall into the big headed,
Right.
egotistical. I'm too good to sit in the audience, because you're not. You know?
Exactly. And I think that's a point that I'm glad you made, is that people feel that, if they don't get to this status by this time, that they're too good to do this, and you're not. You're on the road to where you want to be. And sometimes you have to take positions and things and do things that legally that are not
Or
necessarily
illegally. No, just playing.
No, just like no, stop it. You know that you don't make me want to do like, or
Listen
you
to
think you're too
Matthew.
good to do.
Legally. No, just kidding.
I think
Stop
it's, with that being said, I think it's very, very important to know your worth.
Know your worth,
and
no matter what the dollar says.
Set that as a bar.
Right.
But for example, let's say that I had shoots booked one day, and then just next day I don't have a shoot, and someone would be like, "Let's do a trade for print," and I'd be like, "You got to pay." I paid my dues, but it's
Right.
like just step back from all that. That's your mind talking, and just be like, "Okay, how can I use this in a positive way?"
Exactly, because sometimes you don't know where those opportunities can
Right.
lead you.
Really.
Exactly.
That's
and then you do a
right.
shoot with this person, and that shoot, all of a sudden, I don't know, GQ or some seasons like, "Hey, we're gonna put him on the cover or in the magazine."
Exactly.
And you were helping someone out.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. Now you got a lot going on.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Whew. With a family and kids and in a house somewhere, I don't know, probably not in Hollywood. The goal is to get to the point where I can still do what I love, which is this, but I see Stay Blessed, the clothing line, taking over my life, which I'm completely okay with. But I still think that God has put this platform here for a reason.
Yes.
And the hardest thing is trying to keep the image of the platform that I'm in wholesome.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I've been offered gigs and jobs and stuff where it's like I could have already been to what people think is success in their mind, but it's like my moral fibers and structure and everything that I stand for would have just been shattered and would have been like, what is Stay Blessed?
Ladies, y'all got a good man here. Start submitting your applications. Jamal is ready for y'all.
Now, who are 3 players that helped you get to this entrepreneurial mindset and this level of success and stability? Who would you say are 3 key players in that?
I would say the main one is my dad.
Nice.
And I would say that just because of just his work ethic. He never even had to say anything. He was just like the perfect mold of what a hardworking man is. And
Right.
you know, he would never complain, or I never heard him complain. He might, but if he did it behind closed doors and probably with God. And he's a firm believer in God. And so I say primarily my dad, my mom for sure. A surprise is my little sister really inspired me, and I didn't see it coming.
Oh, wow.
At all, because she's my baby sister. I used
Right.
to make fun of her and how big her feet were and this, that, and other. And
Shout out to the baby sister.
yeah, as a matter of
Yes.
fact, my baby sister's beautiful, but she was supposed to be the model in the family, just a little
Right.
cute thing, and she turned up going into the military,
Wow.
and it was just a complete curveball. Like, you doing what?
Right.
Like, hold on, and I guess you could say she kind of followed in the footsteps of my father because he's in the
He's in the
military.
military.
Yeah.
Nice.
But then touching back on my mom, you know, my mom was amazing, and she's been a independent Mary Kay sales director for
a long time?
for my whole life. She's had like 17 or 18 free cars.
Wow.
Back when I was playing the tuba, a little overweight kid, it was kind of like my in with the girls back then. Like, hey, you know, my mom does Mary Kay. I can get
I
some
can hook
product.
you up.
You're like, really?
So I think
cool.
becoming the entrepreneurial person, it's all been family. My brothers, I have brothers that were cadet brothers. We sponsored cadets that came in. Trey, Rod, Justin, they just all came in, and they played a huge influence on molding me. And they've all become, you know, lawyers and photographers and
Yeah.
still in the Air Force and just amazing people.
Right, so you got great mentors.
Yes.
Wow. That's
Blessed.
cool. That's cool. Now, Matthew, did you have a question over there while we still got
I'm
him?
over here hitting on the fun questions, Jamal.
Let's
So
go. I'm
I got
ready.
a question for you. Now, picture yourself winning the lottery today. How are you spending that money?
I'm giving. I'm giving. And the primary thing
I'm
with-
in line.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Me too. When he said giving, I was getting ready to put
Like,
my
how much
hand
you
out,
giving?
and
Let's
I
specify
remembered
that.
we're recording this, so I didn't want to go. You
It's-
know,
It's
Well,
so,
I will. You can get that on camera. Closed mouth don't get fed.
Amen. I think that being in all the positions that I've been in, like I've had the super nice cars, the super nice houses, the super nice women, just whatever you want to call it. Like I've already had that stuff, and there's no true joy like giving. It's like it fills you up. And I think I would give obviously through my clothing line.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to do is I do want to clothe the world. I want everybody in this world to have a Stay Blessed shirt because the power in the message is just it's crazy. I've had people just stop me that I would never talk to or never think about talking to, not for any other reason because of the way our society's built in today's day and age. But I've had people stop me and just be like, thank you.
Yeah.
I need, and I would be like, for what? I didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just be like, thank you.
Right, but it's dope because it doesn't have any color lines and it
None.
also bridges the gaps.
It bridges
Everything.
gaps, yeah. Stay blessed.
There's no law to it. It's just, hey,
Exactly.
stay blessed.
See, that was a good question, Matthew. You got another one over there? Yeah.
Let's see. What does success mean to you?
I'm there.
I like that question.
I'm alive.
Word.
My life is the true success. Everything else is just a title on something that we're working towards to get to. It's almost like some entitlement. If you really look at it,
Yes.
like the true success is like your life. And can you
Right.
spread love or not? Like, can you make people feel the love around you? Can you bring people to God? And I think that my life testimony has done that to a lot of people. I've had so many people inbox me and write me when I'm done reading the message. It's like I welt up and I'm like, oh my God, like I feel like a little girl. But it's okay to feel like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's by the grace of God that's even happened. There's so many times when it just could have been lights out.
I hear you,
done.
Something
man.
different.
But it's dope, dude.
Bye.
Because it's like with all your trials and tribulations, you've been able to persevere, and now you have a story that people can learn about. You know?
Yeah, and identify with.
Exactly.
Right.
You know?
And I think with going back to the 2,000, 3,000 no's, like
Yes.
at the end of the day, that's what really makes a story is the no's, because it makes you fight for something that you really want. If somebody just told you yes all the time, like there's no story behind it. It's just like that, he gets
Yeah.
everything that he wants.
Exactly.
And then when you talk to that person, there's no depth. It's just like they're
Exactly.
spoon fed. Yeah.
Right. And so the conversation ends in 5 minutes instead of like 50 minutes here with you, and then we don't want it to end.
Hallelujah.
Now, am I stepping on your toes, Matthew?
No.
'Cause I was going to ask another question, but
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
for it. Go for it. Throw another question out there, Char. Let me see.
I was going to go into your questions. I was
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and
Dang.
ask
She's
my
like, I got
question.
this.
The diva is coming out. Diane said.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh man. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. What's your most memorable paycheck ever?
Everyone. Everyone.
I like that.
I'm not saying that because like I could easily just, be like, oh, the one where I got paid this number
much
of
money,
zeros
yeah.
behind
One
it.
when I hit the lottery, baby.
Yeah. But it seems like it's the most humbling ones that have 1 0 behind it that humble you the most and really make you understand like how hard you have to work in the industry. So I can't say I can't put my finger on the specific one. The first one is what made me jump. I'll tell you that.
Right. Exactly. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
I
the-
can make this kind of money.
Lord Jesus, I done found a home. in the entertainment business.
Yes. And I'm just like, because it's the first gig. It was my first audition that I ever went to. It was the first everything. It was the first
Right.
check.
So you had no idea what to expect.
No,
at all.
after that, yeah. And at all, nothing. It was just like I showed up. They were like, take off your shirt, took off my shirt. They called me a couple days later, you booked, showed up, took off my shirt on the thing, ate a lot.
Baby oil.
Baby oiled
Baby
up a lot.
oil.
Get that on. Get that right corner right here. Right here.
Yeah, you missed the spot. So the first one definitely is the one that made me jump. But
Yeah.
all of them.
Wow. Well, Jamaal, you have to come back on the show, right?
I'm here anytime you guys need me.
For sure.
Right. He's close by too, so we could just call him up. I'm
He
just
told
saying.
us he walked here from down the street.
5 minutes. I rolled
5
out of
minutes
bed.
house.
Yeah. I did
Nice.
shower.
Exactly. We need to have a party in his house. Nice. But you got to come back. Now tell us again where we can find your shirts before we leave the air.
The website is www.stayblessed.co.
Stayblessed.com.
And the Instagram handle is stayblessed_co.
Got it.
Here we go, man. Y'all stay tuned, man. Make sure you guys get ready to start picking up some of this fresh gear.
Heck yeah.
Cracking.
Stay blessed.
Stay
Stay
blessed.
blessed. Let's see that shirt. Stay blessed. I love it. I love it. This is Charlene.
Jamal is out here.
He is
I'm
out
out
here.
here repping
Doing
the
it.
kingdom of God, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Amen. This is Charlene. Come on, Matt.
Oh, this is God's gift, y'all.
Yeah,
Good, my
let 'em
goodness.
know.
Stay blessed.
Can we,
Yes.
we gotta stay blessed. Lord, bless Matthew.
Twice.
Twice.
Three times. In
Okay.
Jesus' name. Shamananiah, Shamananiah. Speaking in tongues for y'all.
This is Charlene, Lunch with the Finance
We on
Bunch.
Dash Talk Radio,
On Dash
man.
Talk Radio.
Tune
Please
in to us
subscribe.
every Tuesday
Every
at noon.
Tuesday at noon. Subscribe. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. I'm your host, Miss Charlene, on Dash Talk Radio.
Tuesdays at noon. I'm God's gift.